Jai Baba, Chapter 74. The celebration of Baba sleeping at Chavdi started on 10th of December 1913. As mentioned, Baba would spend every alternate night at the Chavdi. He would leave his dear Masjid-i, and though the Chavdi was only a few meters away, there would be celebrations in Shirdi while Baba walked to Chavdi. After dinner, Baba would sit while both Abdul and Radha Krishna Mai, till she was still in the body, which was until 2 years before Baba took Mahasamadhi, would sprinkle water on the path which Baba would walk from Dwarka Mai to Chavdi, so that dust did not rise and aggravate Baba's asthma. They were careful that the dust should not irritate Sai's breathing problems. The street would be decorated with rangoli, which meant the street would be dotted with artistic colored designs, and Tatya would come and request Baba to come to Chavdi. Baba would at first ignore Tatya. Baba was like a child not wanting to leave his favorite place. So Tatya would tenderly lift Baba, get him on his feet, and then place a gold-colored shawl around Baba's shoulder. Before leaving, with his right foot, Baba would feed more wood into the holy fire, and with the fingers of his right hand extinguish the oil lamps which were burning inside the blessed mosque. With Tatya to Baba's left and Mahal Sapati to Baba's right, all three would slowly leave Masjid-i. The moment Sai came down the steps of the mosque, Pillaji Gurve would begin to play the Shanai, an Indian instrument, sort of a mix between a flute and a thin trumpet, and the devotees who had gathered there would start singing holy songs. Sham Karna, who was Baba's favorite horse, would be beautifully adorned and would lead the procession. Even Sham Karna seemed to bask in the glory of the moment. Then the palanquin containing Baba's padukas or holy footwear would be taken following Shamakarna. The palanquin too has a story. Radha Krishna Mai wanted Baba to be accorded with all the royal honor meant for a king, and thus she had organized the palanquin to be brought for the procession. The first time it was brought over, Baba had gone in a rage and abused one and all, and only after a short time calmed down and allowed the palanquin to be placed in the courtyard of Dwarka Mai. That night, robbers had stolen the palanquin. When Baba woke up, he was as happy as a child who was told that he did not have to go to school. Shama told Baba, "What kind of a god are you that you allow your own palanquin to be stolen under your very nose?" Baba muttered that he did not need all this pomp, but eventually he had to relent to the wishes of his devotees, and thus allowed the elaborate routine every time he walked to the Chavdi. While Baba slowly walked to the Chavdi, songs, music, and the loud cries of "All Hail Sai Baba" would resound in the air while devotees showered flowers on the path before Baba's feet could touch the ground, making certain that he did not have to walk on wet mud. Baba would once again halt and look at Lord Hanuman's temple, and only then make his way to Chavdi. Then Tatya would first enter Chavdi, which would be decorated with colored earthen oil lamps, and welcome Baba. A seat would be placed for Sai and a plank for him to lean his hand on. Baba's feet would be washed by Jog in a silver tray, and then Shama would prepare a chillam for Baba, who would take the first few puffs and later hand it to Mahal Sapati, and then the chillam would be shared by those who were present with Sai. Baba would be offered pan, and he would say a short prayer and eat the pan, touch the plate, and then the others would eat the other pans which were on the plate. Baba would tell one and all to go home, but he would look at Tatya and tell him, "Go home, but come in the night and see me." Of course, a lot of greater pomp and splendor was included during Baba's stay at Chavdi, which came about later on. We shall discuss more about this later. The next day, once again, only after Tatya invited Baba back to Masjid-i, would Sai return to the mosque. He would never leave for Dwarkamai unless invited, and then once again with all his devotees standing in 2 rows, Baba would make the short journey back to his favorite place of dwelling. Baba would first halt and gaze at Lord Hanuman and then immediately take care of the sacred fire and light the main diya once again. Baba never altered his schedule, no matter the state of his health or the weather outside. Yes, in the last 3 years of his physical life, at times, he would send one of his devotees to beg from the 5 houses, but he had his reasons for doing so. Very often, it was to tenderly crush the person's ego and release that person from his own false pride. Those who were sent to beg for food always benefited immensely, both internally and in the world. No matter how famous Baba had become in the last decade of his physical life, neither did he change his routine nor his way of going about life. He still remained temperamental. He still abused one and all, thrashed a few, sometimes threw childlike tantrums, but always remained in constant connect with his Lord and Master. He continuously chanted the name of Allah, and even though sometimes over 50,000 people would gather on auspicious days in Shirdi, there was never the spread of any epidemic in Shirdi due to such large crowds. Baba, the God of Shirdi, continued to live in humble surroundings of Masjidai, would refuse to change his kafni till it was no longer wearable, would pay people far more than the services received by them, and continued to haggle with the fruit vendors, oil merchants, and wood sellers. He remained the same. Neither honor nor dishonor affected him. Neither fame nor riches confused him. He remained the same, constantly breathing Allah's name and eternally exhaling blessings to one and all. Peace be to all. Baba bless us that we too remain unaffected with success and failure, honor and dishonor, wealth and poverty. Jai Sai.